Okay, guys, let's talk about the crypto market. Let's look at crypto.com's Crowcoin price and what we are in store for next. Because right now there is an extreme amount of uncertainty in these markets, and Bitcoin is playing that game of seesaw between $115,000 and $110,000, still in decision mode of whether or not it wants to try to fulfill that giant wick that we saw. It came all the way down to the $101,000 price level. And we are trying to formulate a bottom right now for Bitcoin, but historical data when it comes to filling in these wicks makes people a little bit scared. Now, for the bull case, we do have those historical data that suggest a October and November rally or something we historically see. But if we're going to see some kind of altcoin rally for crypto.com, for the altcoin market in general, we are going to need to see it sooner rather than later. And here we are sitting down at a price level of 16 cents, which I had discussed being a very possible level due to these little moments right here. You can see a couple areas where we found resistance on 16 cents. We found a little bit of support around the 16-cent level. And so I'm not surprised to see us sitting here on a weekly candle right here, right now, in this range. We wicked all the way down to the even the 6-cent price level for Crow. But the good news is that was just a wick. The bad news is that if people are scared of Bitcoin following this wick and coming all the way down to 101, well, if Bitcoin does that, then Crow stands a very good chance to do the same and to fill that wick to the downside. Just as we saw Crow fill these wicks to the upside in the past. Not this one, not this giant crazy one. I don't even remember that day. Maybe this KuCoin chart isn't the best. But looking at the price action for CRO right now, 16 cents is some type of level of support that we could hopefully find a little bit of a bounce off of. If not, we could be coming back down to the 12 or the even 10-cent price level, which is another level I think that people have been looking at because of a little bit of resistance at that 10-cent price level a few times. You can see very clear areas where we were hitting that 10-cent price level. I wouldn't really want to see Crow go down below 10 cents, and let me tell you why, though. Because if Bitcoin comes down to $101,000, and we really do fulfill this wick for Bitcoin, then there is a scary and unfortunate chance at that point that the bull market could be over. Because, and I'm not saying that it is, but if Bitcoin fills that wick to the downside, hopefully that move just happens quickly in October, and then we can get off with some kind of November rally. Hopefully it happens. If it's going to happen, hopefully it happens quickly in October, and then we get some kind of bounce and we rally back up and end this month only slightly red or green. Because if we're looking at historical data, October and November are great. December, compared to those 3 months, is iffy. I mean, we're looking at a 4.75% gain for Bitcoin on average in December. That is certainly not a 46% gain. So if we're going to continue here, we kind of need to get this show on the road for Bitcoin. And that is what altcoins depend on as well. You see, when you look at the top of our previous bull markets, there's something very clear that you're going to see here. Just looking at this peak right here back in December of 2017, that was December of 2017. That's when that was, December. By the way, if you guys want to trade the volatility of these markets, check out the affiliate link in the description down below. Up to a 10% deposit bonus when you sign up for BTCC and for this exchange, which we have in the comment section of the video down below. So check it out. It's pinned in the comment section. It's pinned in the description. So that's there for you guys if you want to take advantage of the 10% deposit bonus. But when we look at the historical tops for this market, you'll see December was the top in the 2017 bull market. And November 8th was the top of the 2021 bull market. So basically, here we are in October, and people are worried that the top could be in. I'm not saying the top's in. I honestly have a bullish bias. I think that there should be more upside given the historical gains that we've seen in November. That being said, I want to remind you guys that now November, 8th of 2021, the week of November 8th, that was when the top was in. That was when the top was in. So even though we see an average of, and so what was this year? This was 2021. Let's look at the average historical gains in 2021. So November of 2021 was actually, yes, a negative 7% return. So here we are in the bull market year saying, well, November is historically 46% gains on average, right? But the peak of last bull market, negative 7% move. The top was in before the end of the month. And October was our 40% gain month. But what the problem with that is, look at this 18%, 13%, 40%. We haven't had any of these real giant rallies for Bitcoin. I guess at the end of August into September, we had a nice rally from the negative to a slight positive. But all things considered, this has been a very painful bull market. Bitcoin's done fine, all things considered. If you look what it's done, I mean, just holding Bitcoin from 15,000 to where it's at today, that's a 7x, almost an 8x. That's incredible. To the top, it's an 8 or almost 9x for Bitcoin alone. But for altcoins, this has been troublesome. For Crowcoin, its previous high was 97 cents. We are still 83% lower than that high. Crowcoin crashed 95% in last bear market. And from that low, we're only up 3.5x. If we were to crash 95% from this cycle's high, that brings us down to freaky low levels that aren't even showing on the screen right now. That brings us down to freaky low levels of 2 cents. These are levels I don't even want to be talking about. This brings us down to levels that are, 2 cents if we get a 95% correction for Bitcoin from this market cycle top. Is that possible? I'm going to sit here and say it's possible. But if that ends up happening, my whole thesis on altcoins is going to shift. I mean, if Crowcoin's able to dip down to levels like that, then I think a lot of people are going to become Bitcoin maximalists. I don't believe that that's going to happen. I think that inevitably in a bear market, there's a good chance at this point that we're going to see Crow back down to the 6 cent price levels. I think there's a good chance we might even see it down to the 5 cent price levels again in a bottom of a bear market. But if we get that altcoin season that we've all been waiting for, and you get this Bitcoin dominance pump before it tumbles down, then I think we can have that big rally for Crow that we've all been waiting for. The problem is, yes, I'm mentioning a lot of problems here. If you take a peek at, let's just pretend it goes to this trend line and then it starts to come back down at a reasonable trajectory, right? Okay, that would be some kind of that would be a move that is feasible, right? Like that kind of volatility, right? And over that period of time. The problem with that is that takes us into August of 2026. And I don't think the bull market goes on through 2026, unless, of course, this is some kind of super cycle. But I want you guys to think about that and the reality of the situation. When Bitcoin dominance topped out in the last bull market, it took 119 days for it to find a low. And it found that low in May of 2021. May of 2021, guys. May of 2021 was right. April, May. Here, this was the first peak. And that was kind of the best part of altcoin season, was the first peak in that double peak last bull market. And that kind of resembles December and November of 2024. So there's a chance that that and this are similar, right? Because that's when we saw Bitcoin dominance falling a little bit. There's your November, October. But if that was our altcoin season instead of that, that is much smaller. And this has been a Bitcoin dominant cycle. This is an interesting thought that I just wanted to explore with you guys in this video. It's not the most optimistic picture, but it's kind of the thing that we're dealing with right now. And I don't think that the altcoin season is going to be as grand as we all wanted it to be. And if it is, it's got to happen so fast that it's going to be ridiculous. And it's possible for things to happen quicker. Like, look at this crash in 2017 at the peak. That was a 28-day altcoin rally. Bang, boom, bop. That can happen. Okay. That's kind of what we need. We need all of a sudden Bitcoin dominance to just fall off a cliff. And we need to happen in a matter of a few short weeks, because realistically, October's got 2-3 weeks left. Call it 3 weeks. Plus another 4, that's 7 weeks. Then you got December. So now just over 10 weeks left to make all these spectacular moves for altcoins. It's still doable. But if it's going to happen, it's got to happen fast. And you can see how quickly these moves can occur, as you saw the market dip super quickly with this wick the other day. Can we recover just as fast? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, guys. It's possible. It's what I'm hopeful for. In order to see an altcoin season, you need Ethereum to get going. You needed to break through $5,000 and get higher to get your Ethereum rally, to get your XRP rally, to get your Crowcoin rally. But I will admit that this is a very pivotal moment in the bull market. That's all I got. I'm Crypto Kip. This is the Crypto Report. Check out the affiliates in the description down below if you want to trade, whether the market's going up or whether the market's going down. There are sign-up bonuses you could take advantage of. There are trading opportunities that you could take advantage of. Do your own research, guys. Choose your own levels of support and resistance as you're learning how to trade. You can do demo trading. You can do copy trading. You could just do spot trading if you're not comfortable with leverage trading. But there is a deposit bonus and you sign up for BTCC if you haven't done so already. That's all I got on this one, guys. I'm Crypto Kip. This is the Crypto Report. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, DCA HODL. I'll see you in the next one. Peace, y'all.